Well, how many times you've been world champion? 11 times at least?
Yeah, 11 times. You know, defended a few belts. So they give you a new belt, so add it up to 11.
11 times world champion, and I fight more than 100 fights, Muay Thai, kickboxing, everything. Everybody tell me, how is Rico Verhoeven? It's my friend, I have respect for him. And the best fighter I ever fought is you. Nathan,
that's
no doubt. You're a legend.
That's big respect. Thank you, brother. It's because I know you fought many big men. I know you've also died with so many, savages and done a lot of good things in your career. So for me, it's a big honor and respect. And I just, on that topic, I would like to speak about how humble you are and how you know who you are as a person, you know who you are as a man, because, you put a highlight video of me fighting you and, and winning that fight. Yeah. But with no shame or care. It's like whatever. Just like I recently saw someone put up a big thing about Tyrone Spong knocking me out.
We are martial artists. So this is about respect, about discipline, about if you didn't give me the opportunity to fight against you, 3 weeks later, they offered me to fight Rico Verhoeven because they saw, even I lost by TKO, you beat me up, okay? But they saw I was ready to compete, all right? So I'm thank you to you. I learned, I grew up a lot for you. Yeah, I have only admiration. And you see the video where you knocked me out, where you made me the 8 count? Doesn't matter, it's a sport. And I'm proud to call you friend, and now we can talk and have a chat. So people that have to see that it's a sport. We are gentlemen,
Well, it's super cool, and for the record, I didn't knock you out. I just stopped.
TKO. 8 count. 1 8 count. They throw the towel.
You are still there, business as well in the future. So the mindset, I guess, when you ask the question of like a world champion mindset or a winning mindset, for me, and everything I talk about is just through my experience. Of course, I've read some stuff, but I don't really grab things from books. I more or less use that to give me more articulation, make sure that I was on my path to greatness. So with those mentality between the path that I accept nothing less than greatness, for one, and two is that this is not a sport. Even though it is a sport, to me it wasn't a sport. It was a place to allow myself to elevate into greatness. So with that mentality, that's what sort of developed that walk forward with brains. I was never really getting smacked in the face all the time. I had intelligence, and that's why I liked elbows the most, because I could walk forward. I could use the elbows to defend. I could use the elbows to strike. I could use the elbows to make people think, cover up, and then start banging to the body. So I brought that weapon into my game early, and it was like, the ace up my sleeve, so to speak. Yeah. So your objective is to actually finish your opponent. This is combat. This is war. When you go to war, the objective is to kill the other person. So in the sense that we're fighting, we're not trying to kill the person, but we're trying to win the fight by finishing them, stopping them as soon as possible. If it goes a distance, the guy was a warrior just like you and took the punishment, or slipped or ducked or ran or moved, or was just more evasive, whatever it might be. But the intention behind it has to be the same. It's like, I'm going in there and I'm not throwing a kick to score a point. I'm not going to throw 10 kicks this round so I know I'm ahead on the scorecards. I didn't even think about a point. And whenever I went 5 rounds and it went the distance, I always knew in my heart that I'd won, because I know. So when someone says, I just didn't feel it, this is not good, because you have to bring it, and you have to bring fire every fight, every second of every minute of every round that you get the chance to be there and do that. So I feel like that's the important thing when I'm talking about intensity. The training intensity would be like that, but you have to have the same flick of the switch when the fight comes. What's the point training like an animal for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, however long you need to prepare? And then when you get to the actual night, it's one thing getting caught, build a cool, respect throughout the world. It was almost like I was doing a farewell tour, going to see all these fans around the world teaching, But it was still painful, and mentally it's tough, because the thing about being a a world champion, or like that's all that you do, is that to me it wasn't a sacrifice. It was purely something I wanted to do. And I think for anyone, and especially a man, this is really important for men, is they need to live in purpose. They need to live in their purpose. Otherwise, they're just not living. And that kills a man's soul, him not living in his purpose. And my purpose, I guess I created it to be as a professional fighter or a fighter or whatever you want to call it. So then after fighting, it's like, well, who am I? So the identity crisis was not so much that, I'm not Carnage. It was more like, what do I do? Who am I now? Meaning like, what am I going to do again? What's my next journey in life? What's my next step? What do I do now between now and death? I've got another 50 years, let's say, and what do I do? I don't want to just be like, had the best time of my life between 15 and 35, and now my life sucks, like, that's not, I didn't want that to be the case, but,
some depression.
So I'm still on that journey of discovering, what it is. I 100% that I know when I wake up in the morning, like I did as a fighter, that I had to go to training, had to go to the gym, and I had a purpose, to keep myself going. I'm still on that journey of discovering exactly what it is, because sometimes it becomes multitask. It's like there's different branches. It's not just like a fight. It's just one tree. You know what I mean? It's like there's one tree. We have a branch of this, a branch of that, a branch of that, and a few different sort of objects. But the thing that I will say in saying all that, the thing I will say is that you must not give up on finding your purpose, because not everyone will know their purpose. But the thing that you must not do is give up on at least working towards finding that purpose, because that, my friend, is when you're living, especially as a man, we need to live in our purpose to feel a champion. I built the courage. I built that courage by doing certain things that made me courageous and take courageous acts, like the fights that I had, over my career. So I was always a little bit afraid and a little bit like unsure, but I just said, I'm not allowing that to dictate my future. I'm going to just keep pushing forward, pushing in. I feel like that's also a really cool story to talk about and to tell people, because sometimes they go, oh, it's easy for you because, you're Carnage, or it's easy for you because you're a 11-time world champion. It's easy for you because, you're fearless. And I like to encourage people to know the truth. I don't mind being vulnerable and saying, hey, I wasn't all that. I was afraid. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was nervous when I was going to fight you, brother. I'm like, look at the size of this guy. Like, he's a monster, He's a big dude, you know what I mean? And you're confident in your speech, you're confident in your talking, you're confident in your training. I'm like, okay, this is going to be tough, but, let's do it. Let's go for it. So, and obviously we pulled the trigger, and that's just what happens. And the same thing when I fought Spong the first time, and I was super nervous, and I got the win. The second time I was super nervous, and I didn't win. Courage within that, and discipline, is one of the biggest factors of growing courage, because if you're disciplined enough to do the little things, they develop that confidence, and that confidence within the discipline, develops the courage to go, okay, well, I'm a bit scared, but I know I've done this. So therefore, if I believe in what I've done, then that's going to, develop me. And the other thing was developing the skill set. So if I'm going to go into a fight, of course I need to learn defense. Like, just like how you crossed over to MMA.
Yes.
Okay. You have to learn how to escape a takedown. You have to learn how to get from your back to your feet. Like, you don't have to be a master, but you have to learn those skills. And then when you learn those skills, then the voice of doubt can quieten. And then all of a sudden you'd be more courageous with stepping into a new arena, like Gokhan Saki's done, like you've done, and a lot of other fighters have. I never did, but, it's awesome.
It is. Thank you. And
no one really likes to get into the negativity of it. So the thing that I spoke about, I'm going to answer this in two answers. So the first answer is the way I spoke to these kids, and I just said to them, what I want to do for you today is I want to give you the idea and the ideal of looking towards a goal, having a future have a future, vision of what it is that you want to do. So when you get to that point and you see how you want to do this and you want to be up here, then when something like bullying comes along, although it's nasty and it's horrible and it's terrible, and unfortunately it'll happen for the rest of this eternity of this world, you have a bigger picture in your mind. Yeah. If that's the only thing that you have in your mind is the fact that you've been bullied, the fact that you've been, hard done by, in the sense that some, unconscious, horrible human being has done that to you, then you're going to become the victim and you're going to become stuck in that moment. Now, if you have something that you see for your life beyond that point, that there's something you can hang on to. That's something that you can strive to, you can keep walking towards, and you can keep striving to go towards that. So I started my arms where I've dive more into yoga for two reasons. I mean, the first reason was essentially just to heal the body, to heal the physical body. But the thing about slowing down is it's so much harder to slow down for our mind. And that's why people struggle to meditate, or people struggle to even sit there and take 9 breaths with their eyes closed 3 times a day. Smashing people. I enjoy it. I enjoy, and I was like, man, I enjoy hurting people. Wow, this is crazy. I enjoy hurting people. This is crazy. I love it. What's wrong with me, And then all of a sudden I'm on the other page talking about mindfulness, and I'm talking about being kind and caring and all this kind of stuff. So that's the thing that people need to understand, is that they don't need to be afraid of gentleness. They don't need to be afraid of mindfulness, because, like I said earlier, they said mindfulness makes them feel like, oh, that's not for me. I don't do that kind of stuff, because it's got so many different, things within it. You can go mindfulness like this. To simplify it is whatever form and whatever way you want to do it. If you can't control your mind, then you can't control your life.
That's a great statement. If you can't control your mind, you can't control your life. Yeah, everything's here.
Right, and I'm still battling. It's like a fight. It's like the fight of my life. After fighting is the hardest fight ever, and that is fighting that daily, and fighting that every single day, every single moment. Each whatever as we go forward. But if you can't control your mind, you can't control your life. And if you want your life to be out of control, then hey, go for it.
Yeah, motivation. But I don't need to be smart. I did it for 15 years. I get the best around the world, traveling. Yeah. So I'm happy, I'm with my wife in Amsterdam. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to fight more, So this is how I am.
If I can give you some advice, I would like to say that you should stop, because, your brain is good. Before your body gets damaged, that doesn't need to have, because you got one body, you got to carry this body for the rest of your journey. And the fact that you wake up in the morning with excitement to train and teach these people, that's the calling, bro. That's exactly what we spoke about living in passion. So now all of a sudden you don't need to prove anything anymore. You've now gained all the knowledge through going to war. And now, obviously, you're learning a new skill through jiu-jitsu, and you're sharing knowledge and passing knowledge on. You're healthy. You got everything that you possibly could want in your life, as far as your wife and your children. So I would step away and know that's that you had an amazing career, and there's no need to just keep grinding that body and grinding that energy system and grinding that nervous system into the ground for possibly nothing.
Yeah, that's what it is, because before I've been the last 3 years going to California, helping DC, UK, the Cormier with UFC. I've been in Sweden with Gustav, some different UFC fighters. But, it's like a nomad life. I want more just settle down, and I discover Holland, Amsterdam is a great city, great services. I'm already 10 years. living.
Nice, yeah, the nomad life, you know, there's a lot to be said about it. It's good to gain experience and exposure and whatnot, but you know, to really plant a seed and to really let it harvest and grow, you need to do that by slowing down and doing what you've done. So I commend you for that.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, man. It's been amazing, this talk. I didn't expect it was wow, really pleasure, because we know each other, but we met in Holland actually the last time in
That's right.
a show.
Yeah.
But it was yeah, maybe 7-8 years ago. I don't know. But then we have always
2011.
didn't have the opportunity to chat for 1 hour for like today. So it's amazing. I knew you were a man, but yeah,
well, we
you
fought 10
again.
years ago, brother. 10 years ago, 2010.
10 years ago.
Here we are 10 years later.
It's amazing. Yeah. That's about sport, about respect, and yeah, making meaningful relations, you know, forever. Yeah. And you come Europe, you have house, you're gonna be my guest. Anything you need, brother. Fantastic. Anything you need.
I'll do that. Sure. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, Nathan, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this talk. And yeah, I wish you the best, you know, and keep fighting, keep seeking your proposal, and get your dreams be coming true, you know. Be the best.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Thank you very much, man.
That's it. Yeah. Us.